Hi.
At this point, most of us are familiar with the latest Battle Royale game, Apex Legends, unless you're that one guy camping outside GameStop waiting for Anthem to release. To no one's surprise, whenever a new Battle Royale game comes out, it instantly gets compared to Fortnite, and a whole "is this the Fortnite killer?" battle ensues. This video is not here to fan the flames of that battle, but instead to take an objective look at both games and highlight 10 ways Apex Legends is better than Fortnite. That's not to say one is a better game than the other, as Fortnite also has its own list of advantages over Apex Legends, but that's for another video. So let's get to the good stuff. Here are 10 things I think Apex Legends does better than Fortnite. Starting off with the advantage that is one of the most refreshing to me. Apex Legends does such a great job with its ping system that voice chat becomes far less essential to play as a squad. This means that if you're looking to just drop in for some random squad play, you don't have to roll the dice on whether you'll get absolute garbage, toxic audio coming in from voice chat, which is far too often the case in Fortnite. How many times do you have to listen to a baby screaming in the background, or a dog barking, or some terrible music blaring through voice chat before you just want to rip your own ears off? Well, the term silence is golden has never been more appreciated than in Apex Legends. In fact, Apex Legends' ping system might be one of the best advancements in the first-person shooter genre in recent time. With the ping system, players can easily communicate to their teammates enemy locations, items, where to go, where you're going, etc. Right off the bat, one of the most obvious advantages Apex Legends offers is an opening cinematic that lets players know what the hell is going on. Now, some might argue story is really not that important for a Battle Royale game, but I disagree. Part of any game's purpose is to give players a sense of escape, like they're entering a new world. After your first time logging into Apex Legends, it's much easier for players to imagine themselves as a rough mercenary fighting to assert their superiority over others. In Fortnite, you're just kind of thrown into a wacky world with a very loose backstory each season that some fans can dig into if they want. It's there, but it's really light and subtle. Next, we have the map size. The Apex Legends map is much smaller than Fortnite's map, which is appropriate as there are less players in Apex Legends versus Fortnite, a difference of 60 versus 100. How big of a difference are we actually talking about though? According to YouTuber How Big Is the Map, it takes about 13 minutes to run diagonally across Fortnite's map versus roughly 8 minutes in Apex Legends. When you think about these distances in time it takes to run, an additional 5 minutes of just running is a huge difference in size. This of course means the smaller map in Apex Legends offers more conflict more frequently and therefore less boredom for the player. Next, let's look at the drop mechanic. We'll need to compare Apex Legends to Fortnite's squad mode to have a fair comparison. In Fortnite, all 4 players can indicate where they'd like to land on the map and ultimately decide on their own when and where to drop. When paired up with randoms, this can lead to a severely scattered and fragmented team, which isn't fun for other members of the squad. In Apex Legends, the game takes away some freedom for the sake of a better experience. Before dropping, a squad will have a randomly designated jump master that will solely make the final decision on where the whole squad jumps. Every member of the squad can suggest their preferred landing zone, but in the end, it's the jump master that makes the final call. If you're really dead set about going rogue, you can still peel away from your squad at the last minute. Overall though, that feeling of dropping together as a unified squad just looks and feels more powerful and creates more of an emotional connection with your squad. Additionally, Apex Legends includes altitude and speed indicators while dropping so you can more efficiently gauge your descent. It's a minor UI detail that goes a long way to improve the player's experience. Another nice feature that Apex Legends included, which we haven't seen in Fortnite yet, is a moving supply ship that squads can choose to land on. The supply ship is a small moving target that can only be accessed by dropping. Players that can reach it will be rewarded with some rare loot, but it also makes it a hot landing zone where conflict is sure to occur quickly. The second advantage of the supply ship is that it gives players a great vantage point over the battlefield and a second chance to plan and coordinate another drop. Speaking of dropping, players no longer need to fear death from any kind of drops. In Apex Legends, players take no fall damage regardless of how high they fall. This helps ensure that the only way you'll lose is by being outgunned by another player, putting the emphasis back on skilled gunplay. In Fortnite, players can accidentally or intentionally fall to their deaths by sliding off a hill or being shot down from a structure they built, and it's never a satisfying feeling to go out that way. The class system is to Apex Legends what structure building is to Fortnite, for better or for worse. In Apex Legends, you don't have to worry about balancing between the skills of shooting and building. Instead, you're given 8 classes to experiment with to find what fits best with your playstyle. Ultimately, this is better for the player as the game now becomes so much more. If say a player gets bored of playing a certain class after a few months, just switch out the class and the game becomes something much different. It helps keep the game fresh longer for those willing to explore and experiment with all the different squad matchups and playstyles. Apex Legends offers more mobility for players thanks to its sliding ability. It's something you don't realize is so beneficial until you go back and play Fortnite. Whether you're sliding after a drop, or to grab cover, or even slide into the perfect angle to take out an enemy, it's easily one of the most satisfying maneuvers in the game. Aside being just so fun to use, it also helps give players that little burst of speed when needed, a mechanic that just simply doesn't exist in Fortnite in any capacity. Speaking of mobility, Respawn Entertainment also added a form of wall jump in its game. Simply run towards a wall and look up and you'll be able to parkour your way up some vertical structures a short distance. While some might argue that the build functionality of Fortnite can let you get to any place you want, running up a wall just comes across as more intuitive and doesn't require a whole different set of commands to get you to higher ground. Combined with the slide, getting around in Apex Legends just feels way more fluid and natural. Lastly, the 10th feature that Apex Legends offers that is better than Fortnite is the champion label. To add a bit more rivalry to the game, Apex Legends will remind all players who the best player and squad was in the last match by showing you their picture before the match. This gives players an optional incentive to hunt down the champion to gain some bragging rights, as well as some additional points. The champion won't be labeled in any clear way in-game once that match starts, but the announcer will let you know when the champion has been killed. A lot of these features are small or subtle addition that really helps Apex Legends stand out as its own Battle Royale game. It offers enough improvements and changes to both compete directly with Fortnite, but also live side by side. Some players will prefer the new mechanics and playstyles found in Apex Legends, while some will gravitate more towards the tried and true formula that Fortnite offers. It's quite similar to how you pick your fast food burgers. Some will prefer McDonald's, while others will always choose Wendy's instead. At the end of the day, what's important is players now have more options to choose from in their Battle Royale games, and it'll be interesting to see how major players like Fortnite respond to a newcomer like Apex Legends and all its new bells and whistles. Would you like to see any of these features come to Fortnite, or have you ditched Fortnite to embrace the new Apex Legends community? Sound off in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Until then, keep it classy.